Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the Russell Berrie Foundation, Making a Difference, RWJ Barnabas Health, Investors Bank, PSE&G, committed to providing safe, reliable energy now and in the future, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, New Jersey Sharing Network, NJM Insurance Group, serving New Jersey's drivers, homeowners, and business owners for more than 100 years. The North Ward Center, and by Rowan University. Promotional support provided by ROINJ, informing and connecting businesses in New Jersey. And by Meadowlands Chamber, building connections, driving business growth.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
That's a good question. High five.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. It is our honor to once again be having a conversation with Jodi O'Donnell-Ames. She's the founder of an organization called Hope Loves Company. She's the 2018 winner of the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Award. Jodi, so good to have you with us.
It's so great to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Jodi, describe the organization Hope Loves Company.
Hope Loves Company is the only nonprofit in all of the United States with the mission of providing educational and emotional support to children and young adults who either have had or currently have a loved one living with ALS. Very unique.
Your connection to ALS, very personal, very real. Share that with our audience.
Yes, in 1995, when I was 29 years old, and my husband, Kevin, was 30. He was diagnosed with ALS at the University of Pennsylvania. And of course, we had a 2.5-year-old at the time. And of course, our lives were changed thereafter.
So many people, and I remember meeting you at the Making a Difference Awards, and we talked about it then, we'll talk about it now. So many people who experience such a difficult, way more than difficult situation, painful situation. So many don't choose to give back, don't choose to go deeper into it. You chose to go deeper into the ALS community and the people that are dealing with it, the family members and others. Why?
You know, we were very fortunate to have a tribe of people committed to helping us. And how do I go through that experience for 6 years, caring for someone who cannot speak, who cannot walk, who cannot eat, without making that impact that I need to take that experience and pay it forward. Using that experience to share my knowledge with others and also to give back to the community that gave to us. So I just didn't see it any other way.
Jodi, do us a favor. I always assume, and I should not, that people know what ALS really is and the impact ALS has on one's body.
ALS affects 30,000 Americans. Every 90 minutes, someone is diagnosed. Every 90 minutes, someone passes away from the disease. It affects people of all races, cultures, ages, and it's a terminal illness. Most people pass away after between 2 to 5 years after diagnosis. Yeah. And it literally takes away your ability to walk, talk, eat, and breathe. It's a horrific, horrible disease.
It's in fact what Lou Gehrig suffered from, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease. That's what ALS is. Now, Warren Ames,
yes,
matters in this story. Bring it full circle.
He does. So my husband, my current husband, Warren Ames, we met through a book called What Did You Learn Today? I was working at the ALS Hope Foundation in Philadelphia with children who had grandparents living with ALS. And we met through that book. He also lost his wife to ALS, Tina Singer Ames. She was 40 years old and they had 2 children together, Nora and Adam. The news is, as you well know, Steve, thank you for asking, that we married, we became a family, and that changed everything regarding the impact and the realization that children, caregivers needed support in this ALS journey as well.
You know, Jodi, we're a not-for-profit production company. You're a not-for-profit. The Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards very often acknowledges nonprofits making a difference. But COVID-19 has devastated so many nonprofits and businesses as well. But how has COVID impacted the work that you and your colleagues do, the services you provide?
Well, we are a small team. We have an executive director, Kara Haggerty, and our program director, Nicole Rosano. We are a small team, and we realize that since we are unique in what we do, there's no way we can give up because of COVID. So we quickly pivoted, and we actually are just finishing, and I can just show you a virtual Camp HLC. We did 6 this season.
Virtual camps.
Virtual camps, and they were so successful. We actually sent a care package to every child who signed up, and it contained all the ingredients you need for a fun camp. The s'mores, the crafts, the shirt, cookies, everything. Awesome. And we sent it out to 6 different states. And every camp had at least 30 children present. So
that's awesome.
COVID has given us the opportunity to think outside of the box, right?
Yeah.
To try new things. And although it's a very difficult and challenging time for so many, we were able to pivot successfully, and we're really proud to say that.
Let me ask you this. You won the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Award in 2018. It's a cash award. I want to be clear so everyone understands this. And for years, I've always disclosed this. I've been hosting those awards from the beginning. It's been my honor, my pleasure to meet extraordinary people and interview extraordinary people like Jodi. What was the impact? What has been the impact of the Russ Berrie Award, and why does it matter so much?
You're making me tear up because, right here in my home is where Hope Loves Company started. The idea started in 2007. As I was raising 3 children who all lost a parent to ALS before the age of 11 and putting my ideas in place. And I know Russ Berrie, passed away in 2012, and his mission is just to recognize people doing good things, unsung heroes, and to really give a shout out. And I must admit, although I don't need recognition to get that award at that time, 6 years in and really thinking, is this going to work? Can we actually continue to sustain what we've created? It was such a nice pick-me-up and an honor, truly an honor, and I'm so grateful.
And this is part of our series called 25 for 25, going into the 25th anniversary of the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards. Jodi's one of the 25 people. There's so many more that we just don't have time to interview. That series, 25 for 25, being together with your colleagues virtually, I know that when you met your colleagues, I remember that year, it was a big deal, and it meant a lot just being around other people who make such a big difference. A few seconds left. Go ahead.
It is. We have a choice. We have, all the people you're honoring have faced some really difficult, challenging times in their lives, and they chose to step up, and to be around people like that is inspiring. It's invigorating, and keep up the good work.
No, you keep up the good work, because that's what you've been doing for a long time. And Jodi, I said it then, I'll say it again. It is absolutely an honor to have you with us. Next time we see each other or I interview you, I hope and pray that it's in person. All the best, Jodi.
Same to you. Take care.
I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back.
To watch more one-on-one with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato, coming to you remotely, obviously. This first segment we're going to do is part of a series simply called 25 for 25. What does that mean? Well, in cooperation with our friends and partners at the Russell Berrie Foundation, celebrating their 25th anniversary, they have been recognizing people for 25 years who are making a difference. I've been honored to host virtually every one of those events every year where these very special heroes are recognized. And one of those heroes we kick off with is, in fact, Chip Paillex, who's president and founder of America's Grow a Row, who was the 2010 winner of the Russell Berrie Award for Making a Difference, right, Chip?
That's correct. And great to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I remember that day. I remember that forum. It was great. By the way, tell everyone what America's Grow a Row is and why it matters more now than ever before.
Well, very simply, our program is based on volunteers that and a paid staff that where our volunteers come out to plant, harvest, and then donate produce to food banks and food pantries, hunger relief agencies all throughout the state of New Jersey and up and down the Mid-Atlantic region at this point. And we also have an educational component, which is critical to teach people about healthy eating. And
there are 4 farms, right?
Yes, yeah, we just secured our 4th farm about a month ago. And so, yeah, we're in a growing mode, not just in the field, but also acquiring additional property.
Where are the 4 farms?
Here in Hunterdon County. So Alexandria Township, Franklin Township, Union Township, and also Clinton. So yeah, all tucked together.
Chip, the impact of COVID-19, there is not one industry, not one not-for-profit. We're a not-for-profit. The Caucus Educational Corporation, our partners in public broadcasting, a not-for-profit. You're a not-for-profit. What has been the biggest impact of COVID-19 on the work that you and your colleagues are doing at America's Grow a Row?
Well, I think what we've all experienced, and your organization as well, I'm sure, is the financial hit. But we were able to recover from that. Of course, we want to be able to continue to stay in our operations and be impactful in the communities in which we serve. But for us, when you have 9,000 volunteers that traditionally go out and help to plant and harvest, immediately, given the social distancing guidelines and restrictions and such, we had to completely flip our model from being a volunteer-based to a commercially based organization this year. Knowing that, one, there's a great need because of the financial crisis and the pandemic itself. But at the end of the day, look, our work has never been more important. Not just getting food, but healthy food out to those folks who need it the most. So we basically flipped the model around greatly this year, and we're on a good trajectory to make some big numbers.
As leaders of not-for-profits, who have to raise money, who have to run an organization and try to plan for the future with so many incredibly powerful and sometimes scary variables and uncertainties around such things as COVID-19. I'm curious, back in 2010 when you won the Russell Berrie Award for Making a Difference, how would you describe the impact that award had and the dollars that went with it, that go with it? By the way, we'll put up the Russell Berrie Foundation website as we do this program so people can continue to nominate others for that award for making a difference. What was the impact of that award?
This is such a pivotal year. That was such a pivotal year as well, because this really kind of broke us out of the little stream and into the mainstream by being recognized for the work that we're doing and the number of people that were impacted, not just from a feeding standpoint, but the volunteers and those who are exposed to giving back. So the award itself, the monetary reward, of course, is huge in its own right. But it was the connections. It was all the PR that
Look at us. You've been on with us 10 times in the last 10 years. This is a partnership. This is a relationship that came out of that.
Absolutely. And we never get tired of it because you know what? Just like you and any other form of media, you're all with us side by side, boots on the ground, getting the word out about what we do and the need that's out there. So, yeah, it's an awesome partnership, and I would consider it to be more of a team than anything.
Along the lines of making a difference, that's what this series is called. That's what the Russell Berrie Foundation is all about, recognizing people who are making a difference. What would you say to someone right now who was watching and said, well, that's great that Chip Paillex and the folks at America's Grow a Row are doing this, but come on, what can I do to really make a difference, particularly given the incredibly difficult challenges we're facing these days?
The first thing I would say is everyone has a passion. It could be anything. It could be cooking. It could be teaching people to read. It could be health. It could be anything.
It could be social justice.
It's social
fighting
justice.
Racism.
Absolutely. I mean, there's more opportunities than ever to really give back and make a difference in today's society. What I would argue is that it's not the amount, it's not the, don't look at GrowRo as, wow, this huge organization, I can never make such an impact. Look, at the end of the day, if every person just helps one person, isn't that enough? So I think, look at what drives you, what's your passion, and then figure out how to sort of serve a purpose and make change. Again, it doesn't have to be huge, it could be small, but at the end of the day, making any difference is a difference.
Angelica Berry talks about the ripples, enough ripples, you're making a huge difference together. A final question. It is the 25th anniversary for the Berrie Foundation. What message would you have to them, their staff, the board, and frankly, all the other honorees over the years that have been recognized for the work that they've been doing?
I would say, look, the ripples are huge and the ripples continue. And that's what's most important. It's not a one and done. And each year, the 10 years that I've been going to the awards every year, because quite frankly, it's the best event there is, it inspires me. It inspires people there to do something different or continue to do what they do. And so I would say that the Making a Difference Awards has clearly touched thousands and thousands of lives. So many more than they'll ever know, because they gave people a chance and they recognized them and got them into the mainstream to be able to be promoted and be able to further their mission. And so the work, the Angelica and the entire board, they'll never really know how deep and how wide, but the impact is just enormous. And again, it's one of the best events. We love going each year. And quite frankly, it's humbling year after year. I recognize
sure is.
All these folks who have just done such great work.
And final point from my perspective, every year I've been there, since 2010, we've been there together. Chip, every time I think I've heard just about everything about people making a difference, we hear a new story, a different story, someone really stepping up, being an unsung hero. And it is moving, it is powerful. And in the age of COVID-19, in the age of confronting racism in all its forms, the need has never been greater. So I want to thank you, Chip, for not just joining us, but for everything you're doing and being part of the 25 for 25 in connection with the Berrie Foundation. Thank you so much, Chip.
Thank you, Steve, for all you do. And again, it's an honor to be here today and be part of the Russ Berrie family.
Well said. I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back.
To watch more one-on-one with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Saranne Rothberg is, in fact, the founder and CEO of ComedyCures Foundation, joins us once again. How are you doing?
I am great. I gained that COVID-19 that everybody talks about, the 19 pounds that go after COVID.
No. You look great. Last time you joined us, we were in the studio and we had an important conversation about the work of ComedyCures. Remind folks what the foundation is and why you're more important than ever before.
Thank you. We bring therapeutic entertainment to the ill and underserved. And we used to have many award-winning live programs, and we had to pivot in March, and we had to come up with a way to continue to serve in a super relevant way, but do it digitally and be socially distanced.
We met back in, I believe, 2003, the Russell Berrie Foundation, the Making a Difference Awards. You were recognized as a winner, as someone who's making a huge difference. Back in 2003, you've stayed connected to the foundation, but let's do a little bit on your background so that people can understand that. You were diagnosed with cancer 21 years ago.
Yep.
You've been cancer-free.
Well, actually, I was misdiagnosed 27 years ago, and it wasn't for 6 years I was diagnosed.
At what point did you decide, I remember talking to you about this before, but it's important our audience understands this, that ComedyCures would be created, that you would be the leader with so many others, and you would want to make a difference in the lives of others. And as it says, I've never taken this off, live, love, laugh, right? Live, love, laugh. Where did you come up with that? And how did you know that that would be the key to so many people struggling?
So my first chemo treatment, April 30th, 1999, I decided to throw a chemo comedy party. And I did that in New York, and I saw the joy that it brought everyone, not just myself or my caregivers that were there, but the doctors, the nurses, the phlebotomists, the pharmaceutical reps, anybody that was in that space of that chemo room. When they entered, it was entering my celebration of life. And I looked around that room and I said, my gosh, we've changed the taste, the touch, the sound, the experience of having chemotherapy. I think I need to do this all over, anyone that will let me show them the power of therapeutic humor and a comic perspective. So that little chemo comedy party, April 30th, 1999, has become like a laughter and comedy revolution. And now more than ever in COVID, we are seeing that we are still so needed and so relevant. So we took what I started in that chemo chair, and we've gone to 4 continents since then. I was scheduled to go to the Vatican and to do programming at a really interesting think tank with the Pope this past summer, and that got postponed till 2021. But I mean, I never imagined, I hoped and prayed that I would survive a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, and I did. Thank God I have no visible disease still to today. But the fact that I could take that little chemo comedy party with my little band of supporters and bring that to the World Health Organization, bring it to the United Nations, to the first therapeutic reunion on Broadway for the families of September 11th. I mean, laughter is contagious, and using a comic perspective for a stress management strategy, whether you're a frontline worker or you're living with someone that you're quarantined with, or whether you just want to connect with family, friends, workers around the world, having a comic perspective is such a great tool right now. So we are teaching Zoom chats, believe it or not.
What's a Zoom chat?
We're doing workshops on Zoom where frontline workers from all over the world can join in and learn how to use a comic perspective for de-stressing, for respite, for revitalizing, refreshing themselves because they're under so much stress. So normally we teach this program live, right? We would go into a hospital or we would teach at a convention. And now we're doing it through Zoom. And we just did one last week that was so fun. We had a major cardiologist from California. We had a major cancer researcher from New York. We had a dental surgeon. We had a nurse, like people who would never meet each other, letting down their guard, if they opt to be visible on Zoom. Some people do it without being visible and become part of this learning workshop where they share an hour of laughter, of fun, of exercises. So that's been one of the really cool programs that we've done during the pandemic.
What is fan casting? Is that something different?
Yeah, fan casting is actually a private startup that I thought of in March, beginning of April. I come out of the entertainment industry originally, and the first thing I saw was how static and boring everything got, whether it was a live audience in a talk show not being able to be there, or a sporting event, concert, comedy, or music. And immediately I came up with this idea of how to create an audience that could be socially distanced and safe, right? But still have this experience of being reactive, and the team or the performer could feed off of the energy of that audience. So I contacted a buddy who was a former Fortune 500 CEO of 7-Eleven and Blockbuster. And I said, I have this idea of how I can solve the fan audience situation. And I told him, and he just said, let's do it. So he got together a team of technical people, and our startup fan casting was born. And so it's quite amazing. We're already in discussions with a major sporting universe and a music and comedy universe, because the things that have come out, even since I came up with my whole technical solution, pale in comparison. So we've seen cardboard cutouts in Korea. We've seen sex dolls used in audiences. We've seen screens used. We've seen people zooming in from home, sitting on their couch. But no one has come up with this really cool interactive audience experience. And that's what we're doing. So I'm blown away. It's like I have two hats. Part of the day I work on ComedyCures, which is my passion, and we do that, all over right now. For ComedyCures, we're collecting another 1,000 new toys and games to deliver. We've already delivered to Harlem Hospital, Brookdale Family Center, and to know that the kids who can't have their visitors and they can't have their child life specialists because they're on COVID floors now, that every day they can wake up and get a new gift to play with and explore. As a retired teacher, that was super important to me, that we thought of a way at ComedyCures to keep kids still kids, even though they have to go through the pandemic and medical treatments, like the rest of us.
Let me ask you before I let you go. 2003, when you won the Russell Berrie Award for Making a Difference, real quick, the difference it made in the organization, because we would not have met if it were not for that event.
No, I always think about that. It comes around every year, and I try to go when I can. And I know that you host it too, and that you're still involved. I mean, just thinking about, I've given away 14,000 toys from the Russ Berrie Foundation alone. I mean, just, the amount of gifts that I've been able to give because of their generosity. Also, when you win a Making a Difference award, it allows hospitals and orphanages and camps for old kids and senior centers. It allows people to see the work you're doing and then ask you to continue to do it on a bigger and better level. So I'm grateful, and I love Angelica, and I loved Russ. I had met him too before he passed away. And they've been part of our organization's growth and success because they are, and God rest his soul, such big philanthropists that when they approach you, it means it's like a seal of approval that you're doing great things in the universe.
Trust me, I know, because they've been a part of our growth from day one as well. And as they celebrate the 25th anniversary, amazing. I just want to say thank you, not just for being with us once again, but for doing the work you're doing every day. And we wish you and everyone on the team all the best. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. We love coming back every few years. It means I'm still here and that we're still doing good things. I think my dog agrees.
I got it. Thanks so much. I'm Steve Adubato. I'll be right back.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Russell Berrie Foundation, RWJ Barnabas Health, Investors Bank, PSC&G, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, New Jersey Sharing Network, NJM Insurance Group, the North Ward Center, and by Rowan University. Promotional support provided by ROINJ and by Meadowlands Chamber.
If you need to see a doctor, RWJ Barnabas Health has 2 easy ways to do it from anywhere. You can see an urgent care provider 24/7 on any device with our Telemed app. Or use our website to book a virtual visit with an RWJ Barnabas Health Medical Group provider or specialist, even as a new patient. You've taken every precaution, and so have we, so don't delay your care any longer. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.